The knockdown or skip trowel method of covering walls and ceilings gives any home a very unique and classy look. The basics of a knockdown finish involve shooting compound sprayed in dollops over the surface of the wall, allowing it to set up briefly, then lightly troweling it down to knock down the tops of the dollops, forming a rough, earthy, uneven finished surface. This job will be messy, so if you're in a furnished room, you need to have the drop cloths and plenty of blue tape ready to seal up everything. Do not use cheap drywall compound or mud for the texture. That promotes mildew growth, whereas super white texture compound or a similar product will not. This is the reason that many professionals use Sheetrock 90 as their first tape coat, as Sheetrock 90 also does not promote mildew growth. Granted, it is twice as expensive as drywall mud, but it's made for the application. Secondly, you never have to paint the finished texture after it's done. Here we go. Finish the wall or ceiling as normal, taping with Sheetrock 90, then normal mud for the next 2 to 3 coats, then sanding it ready for paint. Coat the wall or ceiling with 2 coats of high-quality primer sealer and add 6 drops of black tint per 5 gallons of white primer. We'll explain more about that later. If you want a particular color, you can tint the texture accordingly before you start spraying. Once mixed, you can fill the hopper and get busy. Spray the wall or ceiling with a good quality texture sprayer using the super white texture compound and do a 1/3 trigger pull, then a full trigger pull for each section. This method gives a nice, very fine spiderweb underlayment with the regular size knockdown in the foreground. It's a very classy look. Here you see how we knocked down the sprayed texture when it got lightly tacky. That's after about 10 or 20 minutes. Once the entire wall has been troweled, the texturing phase is complete. Any missed spots or repairs that you might have to do can be treated by simply dipping a paintbrush into the thin compound for flicking the mud onto the wall, or slinging it, simulating the splatter that comes from the spray gun. Just allow the patch to cure, and then trowel it as you did the others. You are now complete. Do not paint the finished textured surface. It's done. Now, back to the 6 drops of black tint. If you mix that into 5 gallons of primer, what you will now have is a very subtle contrast between your wall and ceiling surface and the newly applied texture. This gives you a better 3-dimensional look and adds more character. If at some point down the road you need to remove the texture, you can if you do not paint it. If you had painted the texture, you would have one heck of a time scraping it off, and lots of spackling work to do. Good luck, and thanks for watching.